rather seek ye the kingdom of God, and all these things shall be added unto you. Fear not, little flock, for it is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom.
All right, okay, I understand.
The word kingdom means what? Domicile of the kings. Domicile of the kings. That's what kingdom means. Okay? So that means domicile, that's the place. A place where kings dwell. Only men can be kings. Kingdom, domicile of the kings. That proves that only men could be in this truth. Women are not kings. Only men are kings. So that proves a point, which goes into Ezekiel, unto you, O men I call, Ezekiel 34, right? Only men are going to receive the truth, because the Lord is only dealing with men. The tabernacle of the Most High is with men, right? So that proves that this word is the kingdom itself. The knowledge, because only men are going to really receive this thing.
He withdraweth not his eyes from the righteous, but with kings are they on the throne, yea, he doth establish them forever, and they are exalted. Therefore the redeemed of the Lord shall return, and come with singing unto Zion, and everlasting joy shall be upon their head. They shall obtain gladness and joy, and sorrow and mourning shall flee away.
The elect of the nation of Israel, they were born to be leaders of the nation. What did Yahushua tell his disciples? You shall sit upon 12 thrones, judging the 12 tribes of Israel. Think about that, man. We're being created, we're being formed, we're being forged into being leaders of this great nation, the nation of Israel.
Okay, I understand.
Barakatah Yahushua, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahushua.
All right, okay, I understand.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I'd like to give all praise, honor, glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Kakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders, GMS, who rule well, teach well, being great example to his younger brothers, and peace and blessing and salutation to the hopeful lake out there pushing his word and truth and in sincerity across the four winds in the name of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to the hopeful lake, the believers, the listeners, whom have came back to the obedience of the scriptures through faith in Yahweh Bashem Al Shai. And what I want to get into this morning, all right, is pretty much going into understanding, the split between the northern, and southern kingdom. This was a question, asked on a comment board a couple of days ago. And, I was just doing some studying because I wanted to do a thorough lesson, dealing with this, dealing with this topic, and I pray that it comes out with edification. It's going to be kind of lengthy. I'm going to do a lot of reading, just so we can get, the history, of, what happened and what it led to and what it means today. Okay. Dealing with the split or the northern and southern kingdom, which is centered around the era of the end of Solomon. Okay. Going into Jeroboam. all right, which was of the northern kingdom, Ephraim, from the tribe of Ephraim. And then you will have, okay, Rehoboam, which is Solomon's son, okay, and what he did, all right, to fulfill that prophecy of a split, you know, and it was stemming from what? Solomon's, you know, disobedience towards the end, you know, of his rulership, okay? So we're gonna get straight into it. Let's get the accounts, you know, and if you brothers or you sisters got questions, you know, during the lesson, just, you know, put it on the comment board and we'll, you know, stop and expound. So yeah, let's start off with 1 Kings 11. Let me share the precepts. Let me share the blue dot. All right, let's get it. Let's start here in the book of 1 Kings. Now we know, okay, under David, okay, when you go to, matter of fact, in 2 Samuel 5, when you go to the reign of David, okay, and you go to 2 Samuel 5, and you start at verse 1, and you see the title, okay, of this chapter. It said David king over all Israel, okay, and that's one of the meanings of the throne of David is the unification of all the tribes, okay. Now you go to 2 Samuel 5 and 1. It says, then came all the tribes of Israel to David unto Hebron and spake, saying, behold, we are thy bone, all right, and thy flesh, which is what? Our kinsmen, okay. Also in time past, when Saul was king over us, thou was he that led us out and brought us in Israel, and the Lord Yahweh Bashim Shah said to thee, thou shalt feed my people Israel, and thou shalt be captain over, okay, Israel, all right. And it says, so all the elders of Israel came to the king of Hebron, because King David was king of Hebron, you know, just over Judah for 7 years, okay. But then you had all the tribes come to pledge, you know, their allegiance, you know, to David, all right. And it says, and King David made a league with them in Hebron before the Lord Yahweh Bashim Shah, and they anointed David king over Israel, okay. So David unified the tribes, all right, under one throne, okay. And Solomon inherited that throne of those unified tribes, all right. And Solomon was a great king up until the end. And when you go into the end of his rulership, that's when we get, okay, the root, okay, cause of the split. So let's get 1 King, all right, the 11th chapter. All right, and like I said, this is a open question, you know, lesson. You know, if it's something you don't understand, you know, or something you want to be expounded on, you know, feel free to ask. You know, you brothers, you know, and you sisters, man. All right, so let's get to the point, okay. This is 1 Kings 11 and 6. It says, and Solomon did evil in the sight of the Lord Yahweh Bashim Shah, and went not fully after the Lord Yahweh Bashim Shah, as did David his father. Then Solomon built an high place for Chemosh, the abomination of Moab, in the hill that is before Jerusalem, and for Molech, the abomination of the children of Ammon. Okay, so Solomon was super tripping. You see, it says, and likewise did he for all his strange wives, which burn incense and sacrifice unto their gods. And the Lord Yahweh Shema Shah was angry with Solomon because his heart was turned from the Lord. All right, Yahweh Shema Shah, power of Israel, which had appeared unto him twice. Okay, and had commanded him concerning this thing, that he should not go after other gods, but he kept not that which the Lord Yahweh Shema Shah commanded. Wherefore the Lord said unto Solomon, for as much as this is done of thee, okay, and thou hast not kept my covenant and my statutes which I have commanded thee, I will surely rend the kingdom from thee, and I will give it to thy servant. So the split was a result of Solomon's, all right, idolatry towards the end of his rulership. You know, he started off great. Okay. Most of his rulership was a peaceful and great rulership, which it was peaceful, you know, throughout the whole rulership. But then his disobedience planted the seed for the split after he died. Okay. It says, wherefore the Lord said unto Solomon, for much as this is done of thee, and thou hast not kept my covenant, my statutes, which I have commanded thee, okay, I will surely rend the kingdom from thee, and will give it to thy servant. Notwithstanding, in the days I will not do it for David thy father's sake, but I will rend it out of the hand of thy son. Okay, so the kingdom wasn't split during Solomon's reign, okay, for the sake of David. But after Solomon, okay, Rehoboam, that's who he's speaking of. Thy son is talking, he was going to rend the kingdom from was Rehoboam. Okay, we're going to get it. And it says, howbeit, I will not rend away all the kingdom, but will give one tribe to thy son, okay, for David my servant's sake, and for Jerusalem's sake, which I have chosen. Okay, and we're gonna get the understanding of that. All right, now let's jump down to 26. This is where Jeroboam comes on the scene. It says, in Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, all right, an Ephrathite of Zerada, Solomon's servant, whose mother's name was Zeruiah, a widow woman, even he lifted up his hand against the king. And this was the cause that he lifted up his hands against the king. Solomon built Milo and repaired the breaches of the city of David, his father, which is Zion. And it says, and the man Jeroboam was a mighty man of valor, and Solomon, seeing the young man that he was industrious, he made him ruler over all the charge of the house of Joseph, okay, which is what? In the northern kingdom, the northern tribes. And it came to pass at that time when Jeroboam, okay, went out of Jerusalem, that the prophet Ahijah, the Shilonite, found him in a way, and he had clad himself with a new garment, and they were alone, all right, in the field. And Ahijah caught the new garment that was on him and rent it in 12 pieces, okay, symbolizing what? The split. And he said to Jeroboam, take thee 10 pieces, for thus shalt the Lord Yahweh Shema Shah, the power of Israel, behold, I will rend the kingdom out of the hand of Solomon, and will give 10 tribes to thee. Okay, so this is the split. This is the Most High, all right, breaking up the tribes. Okay, because of Solomon's folly. Okay, it said, but he shall have one tribe for my servant David's sake, and for Jerusalem's sake, the city which I have chosen out of all the tribes of Israel. Okay. So he said he gonna give, allow, the sons of David to rule over one tribe, and that was gonna be Judah. Okay, and then we're gonna get into how the other two tribes, the Levites and Benjamin, became part of the southern kingdom, okay, of Judah. Okay, it says, because they have forsaken me and have worshipped Ashtaroth, the goddess of the Zidonians, Chemosh, the god of the Moabites, Milcom, the god of the children of Ammon, and have not walked in my ways to do that which is right in my eyes, and to keep my statutes and my judgments, as did David his father. Okay. Verse 34 said, howbeit I will not take the whole kingdom out of his hand, but I will make him prince all the days of his life for David my servant's sake, who I have chosen, because he kept my commandments and my statutes. But I will take the kingdom out of his son's hand, and will give it unto thee, even 10 tribes. And unto his son will I give one tribe, that David my servant may have a light always before me in Jerusalem. And why was he preserving that lineage of David? Quick question, brother. Why was he preserving this lineage? What light was going to come out of this lineage? Will eventually come out of this lineage, man. For you brothers. Okay, reading it again, 1 Kings 11:36. And unto his son will I give one tribe, that David my servant may have a light always before me in Jerusalem, the city which I have chosen to put my name there. Okay. Let's see. Yep. Exactly. Okay. Exactly, brother. Because Yahushua, which was Solomon, and while I was researching, it really, hit me yesterday why Yahushua was so big on gathering the tribes, because as Solomon, he played a major part in this split. You see? And you're going to go into how that's why Yahushua was so, big on gathering the tribes. Okay? It's like Yahushua came to play cleanup from, what he did as Adam, and Solomon. Okay? That's why Yahushua was perfected, during his ministry, and also his chastisement. Okay? So let's it says, and I will take thee, and thou shalt reign according to all that thy soul desire, and shall be king, all right, over Israel. Okay. It says, and it shall be, if thou wilt hearken unto all that I command thee, and wilt walk in my ways, and do that is right in my sight. So he pretty much, Most High is laying out the conditions. Okay. But Most High is laying out the conditions before he puts Jeroboam in rulership over the what we know today is the northern tribes. Okay. Which, when you go, if a brother can post I believe it was Wisdom of Solomon. All right, get Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 1. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 1, verse 1. And it says, and do that is right in my sight, to keep my statutes and my commandment, as David my servant did, that I will be with thee and build thee a sure house as I built for David, and will give Israel unto thee. And I will for this, and I will for this afflict the seed of David, but not forever. Okay, come to the sure mercy of David. And says Solomon sought therefore to kill Jeroboam, and Jeroboam arose and fled into Egypt, and Shishak, king of Egypt, and was in Egypt until the death, okay, of Solomon. All right. And the rest of the acts of Solomon and all that he did and his wisdom, are they not written in the book of the acts of Solomon? And the time that Solomon reigned, all right, in Jerusalem, all right, over all Israel was 40 years. And Solomon slept with his fathers and was buried in the city of David, his father, and Rehoboam, his son, reigned in his stead. Okay. So Rehoboam is given, you know, the northern tribes. All right. But it was the conditions of ruling. Okay. Yahweh Shema Shah will always give conditions of rulership, okay, to Israelite kings, man. A standard. That's why you go Wisdom of Solomon 1:1. This is brother Awalon War 777. It said, love righteousness, ye that be judges of the earth. Think of the Lord with a good heart. In the simplicity of heart, seek him. Okay? And that's the conditions of rulership. All right? For Israel, those were always the conditions of what, man? That standard of the law, statutes, and commandments, man. Now, so Solomon died, okay? And Rehoboam becomes king. Now, when you go to 2 Samuel, just to prove that this will be talking about a latter time, because the scriptures say that he was going to afflict the seed, okay, of David, but not forever, okay? And when you go to Second Samuel 7:12, it says, and when thy days be fulfilled, this is Nathan speaking to David, okay, delivering a message from Yahweh Shema Shah. It says, and when thy days be fulfilled, and thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, I will set up thy seed after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels, and I will establish his kingdom. He shall build an house for my name, and I will establish the throne, okay, of his kingdom forever. And I will be his father, and he will be my son. If he commit iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of men and with the stripes of the children of men. Now, that didn't happen to Solomon, okay? But we know who this did happen to, man. Okay, and we're going to get a deeper understanding why. Okay, it says, but my mercy shall not depart away from him, as I took it from Saul, whom I put away before thee. Okay, so that's why when you read, okay, you go to 1 Kings 11. That's why Yahweh Shai, was so focused. It makes a lot of sense why Yahweh Shai was so focused, when he came back. He was so locked in because he knew he pretty much came back with a chip on his shoulder, man. Okay? And he knew he had to get it right, man. That's why he wasn't dealing with women or anything. He had to get it right. He had to make it right. You know? He had to clean up his mess and then, clean up the mess of all Israel, man. you know? Let me see. So when you go to 1 Kings 11:39, it says, and I will afflict, it says, and I will for this afflict the seed of David, but not forever, man. Okay? Because through Yahweh Shai, all right, what will happen, man? Grace, okay, leading into the second covenant. As you gotta go into it as Adam and then Solomon, okay, that had a heavy effect, okay, on the nation. But as Yahushua, he cleaned everything up, you know, and we're gonna get into that. But let's go into the account that calls. All right, let's go into the account. I'm trying to see. It says, so this is from the brother Halak Yasha'Allah. It says, so they are people who are Yahushua's sons. Well, you know, leading up into, because you know Solomon had all those wives, and he had, he had a lot of children. But when Yahushua came back, he didn't have, children. You know, so when he came back as Yahushua, all right, he didn't have any children. So there's no, descendants of that lineage, all right, of Yahushua today. Okay, he gonna pick up where he left off. You see, in the kingdom. But he came as Yahushua, he didn't have children, you know. So let's go back. First Kings, like, let's go to First Kings chapter 12. All right. So this is First Kings 12. And we're gonna read through this account. All right. It's First Kings 12:1. It says, and Rehoboam went to Shechem, for all Israel were come to Shechem to make him king. Okay. It says, and it came to pass when Jeroboam, the son of Nebat, all right, who was yet in Egypt, heard of it, for he was fled from the presence of King Solomon, and Jeroboam dwelt in Egypt. Okay. And it said that they sent and called him, and Jeroboam and all the congregation of Israel, and spake unto Rehoboam, saying, so Jeroboam is back, and pretty much he's petitioning to Rehoboam. Okay. And then also, just to expound on your question too, bro. Yahushua, all right, had brothers, and there's men, okay, today that are descendants of, direct descendants of David, because Yahushua had brothers, you see, and his brothers more than likely had families. And Elder Zahab always going to, when you go into the kings during the dark ages, a lot of them could track their lineage, back to David, with that line of Yahushua, he didn't have children, so there's no direct descendants, Yahushua, okay, but there are descendants of David, of the tribe of Judah that's here today, their lineage, okay. So going on, it says First Kings 12:3 says that they sent and called him, and Jeroboam and all the congregation of Israel came and spake unto Rehoboam, saying, thy father made our yoke grievous. Now therefore put thou the grievous service of thy father and his heavy yoke, which he put upon us, all right, lighter, and we will serve thee. Okay. Now you read this and you think about, what, Solomon put, grievous yoke, on the tribes, on the other tribes. But you have to think, when Solomon went into the idolatry, his judgment was, obscured. Okay. Because when you go into idolatry, you're pretty much enchanted by those demons that surround that idolatry, man. Okay. So you have to understand that towards the end, okay, Solomon judgment was obscured, okay, because he was building all those idols, okay, and those things cost, okay. So there was a chance that he put, you know, even more, you know, tribute, you know, on the tribes, okay. But it wasn't always like that, because let's prove it. And then we're gonna go into some accounts of Yahweh that let you know that he, you know, he he was making up, okay, for the latter part of what he did to Solomon, man. Okay. Now, when you go to, let's get this, and we always get it because it lets you know that that wasn't the case always, you know, but towards the end, you know, his judgment was obscured. Now, when you go to First Kings 4:1, it says, so King Solomon, okay, was king over all Israel. Okay. So he's going to set up, you know, pretty much his courts and his, you know, people over tribes. Now, we go to First Kings 4:20. It says Judah and Israel were many. You see that? All the tribes. It's the saying which is by the sea and multitude, eating and drinking and making merry. And this was when Solomon was in his right mind. Okay. They was eating, drinking, and making merry. Okay. You remember Queen Sheba almost fell out when she seen Solomon's, you know, she thought the doorman was the king. Okay. Israel was ridiculous balling. Okay. But towards the latter end, like I say, Solomon's judgment was obscured due to idolatry, man. Okay. It says, and Solomon reigned over all kingdoms from the river unto the land of the Philistines and unto the border of Egypt. They brought presents and served Solomon all the days of his life. Okay. Now you jump down to verse 25. It says, and Judah and Israel, going into all tribes, dwelt safely, every man under his vine and under his fig tree, from Dan even to Beersheba, all the days of Solomon. Okay. It said every man dwelt safely. They were safe from invading armies. You know, no foreign military was trying to invade to take over Israel, and they were safe, you know, from poverty, man. Okay, it said every man under his vine and under his fig tree, which means every man had substance and was good. Okay, I say, but towards the latter end, Solomon's judgment, you know, was obscured. All right, due to idolatry, man, which would cause him probably be a little more harsh, you know, and towards the end. Okay, but the majority of his rulership, Israel was balling. Okay, let's get this. Yep, let's get this real quick. And it was all tribes. Okay. Now this is First Kings 10:27. It says, and the king, which is talking about Solomon, made silver to be in Jerusalem as stones. Made silver as stones. Imagine it, man. Silver as stone. You see rocks everywhere. That means abundance. Okay. He made silver as stones, man. Okay. And cedars made to be as the sycamore trees that are in the vale for abundance. Okay. Everybody was crazy straight. You know, when Solomon was in line with, all right, Yahweh Bashim al Shah, when he was in line and in tune with the Most High, when he was locked in, everybody was crazy straight. Okay, so you can't read, you know, that little portion of Kings, the 12th chapter, and think, you know, Solomon, you know, No, he wilded out towards the end. Okay, he was wilding out towards the end, but for the most part of his rulership, we was crazy straight, all tribes, man. All right, Naphtali, okay, Zebulun, everybody was straight, abundance, you know. So let's go back to 1 Kings 12. Well, let's get another account. Let's get some accounts of Yahushua. And you're going to kind of see that, you know, Yahushua was in cleanup mode when he came back, because you go to, let's get Luke. All right, so you get Luke 22 and 24, and said there was also strife among them, which of them should be accounted, all right, the greatest. And he said unto them, the kings of the Gentiles, this is Yahushua speaking. So the disciples is, you know, the debating amongst them who gonna be the greatest. Okay, who's gonna have the highest rank. Okay, and he said unto them, the kings of the Gentiles exercise lordship over them, and they that exercise authority upon them are called benefactors. Okay, which is a benefactor, someone who, you know, with like now when someone runs for presidents and they have all these you know, sponsors and donation, those are benefactors, people who help the cause, you know, different entities that help the cause of one person. Okay, that's how the Gentiles rule. But Yahushua like, nah, we not gonna move like that. Okay, we not gonna move like that, man. All right, verse 26. But ye shall not be so, but he that is greatest among you, let him be as the younger, and he that is chief as he that doth serve. Okay, humility. Okay, Yahushua like, no, we not gonna rule like them, where people, you know, where the people have to foot the bill for this one person, or you know, no, the king is going to make the decision that's going to benefit the nation, like Solomon was doing in the beginning of his reign. All right, his decision making benefited the whole nation, but towards the end, all right, serving them heathen gods, okay, he began to, you know, practice lordship. Okay, it says, that's the point. Let's get this one as well. Let's get Luke 17. All right, get Luke 17 and Oh, 11. It's like it's St. Luke 11. All right. Now, this is Luke 11 and 31. It's a statement Yahushua made. It says, the queen of the south, all right, speaking of Queen Sheba, shall rise up in judgment with the men of this generation. And what he was saying was, you know, Queen Sheba, you know, she took a long, dangerous journey just to come here Solomon. But here it is, you had Yahushua in the midst of Israel, and Jake didn't want to hear it. Okay, just like in this time, you have Yahweh Shai, his spirit is upon multiple men that come from, because you got, like, you see the camp in New Orleans. Well, those men, they speak their same dialect as Jake in New Orleans. They come from them same backgrounds. Okay, but the spirit of Yahweh Shai is on them. So Yahweh Shai is like he's visiting New Orleans. Okay, it's like he's visiting LA. Okay, like he's visiting New York, Florida, because his spirit is upon, those different men. So Yahweh Shai is in the midst of his people. That's why I say Queen Sheba shall rise up in judgment, which means what she did condemns everyone that rejects Yahweh Shai, as Yahweh Shai has drew near to his people. Okay, because she traveled a long way. Like I said, you go into it from modern time, she had to go all the way across the Saudi Arabia to get to Israel, because she was coming from Yemen, what would be modern day Yemen. Okay, which was at the bottom of Saudi Arabia. So she had to go through that whole big desert of Saudi Arabia to get to Israel. And she brought gifts. She had tons and tons and tons of gold and gifts, man. All right, to bring to Solomon. Okay? But Yahweh Shai is in the midst of his people, and you still have our people that rejected, man. So what she did condemns, all right, our people today. All right, and says, the queen of the south shall rise up in judgment with the men of this generation and condemn them, for she came from the utmost parts of the earth, okay, to hear the wisdom of Solomon. But watch this. And behold, a greater than Solomon is here. Okay, because Yahweh Shai is Solomon perfected. If you can receive it. You see? A greater than Solomon is here. Okay? So let's go back. Just want to, clear that up. Cause I know it can be confusing. I know when I first read it, I was like, man, but then you have to, extrapolate and put it together in the spirit. All right, so back to the account. So Rehoboam is king in Solomon's stead. All the tribes are still united. So Jeroboam comes out of Egypt, and the northern tribes pretty much make him the spokesman, to go speaking to Rehoboam. All right. So let's start back at verse 4. It says, thy father made our yoke grievous. Now therefore make thou the grievous service of thy father and his heavy yoke, which he put upon us, lighter, and we will serve thee. Okay. And it says, and he said unto them, depart yet for 3 days, then come again to me. And the people departed. And King Rehoboam consulted with the old man that stood before Solomon his father while he yet lived, and said, how do you advise that I answer this people? And they spake unto him, saying, if thou wilt be a servant unto this people this day, and wilt serve them and answer them and speak good words to them, then they will be thy servants forever. But he forsook the counsel of the old men which they had given him, and consulted with the young men that were grew up with him, which stood before him. So he forsook the counselors of Solomon, because this lets you know that the Solomon's counselors seen when Solomon made their switch towards the end. So they were trying to tell Rehoboam, look, if you take this burden off, they're gonna be your people forever. Like, you're gonna be good if you undo, those things that Solomon put in place towards the end. They're gonna be your people. You're gonna be good. Okay, let you know that these older wise men, seen, that switch in Solomon. So they trying to tell Rehoboam to pretty much get it back right. Okay, but what did he do? He rejected that counsel and listened to them niggas he brought. Listen to them young niggas, man. Okay, these little young Judites. Okay, and it says, verse 8 said, but he forsook the counsel of the old men which they which they had given him, and consulted with the young men that were grown up with him, and which stood before him. And he said unto them, what counsel give ye, that we may answer this people who have spoken to me, saying, make the yoke which thy father did put upon us lighter? And the young men that were grown up with him spake unto him, saying, thus shalt thou speak unto this people that spake unto thee, saying, thy father made our yoke heavy, but I will make it lighter unto us. Thus shalt thou say unto them, my little finger shall be thicker than my father's loins. Okay? So these young guys, okay, told Solomon, look, matter of fact, you tell them that your little finger gonna be thicker than your father's loins. Okay, because Solomon had all the women, which means what? Solomon going hard on the women. All right, you figure it out. Okay, but what he was saying, what? My little finger. All right, which is what, man? What Solomon put in place, I'm gonna go way harder than that, pretty much. And it says, and now, whereas my father did lay you with a heavy yoke, I will add to your yoke. My father have chastened you with whips, but I will chasten you with scorpions. Going back to what we read earlier. Okay. Remember, Solomon wasn't chastened in that time, but he was chastened as Yahweh Shai. And now, okay, as we see that, because when you go into atonement, because Yahweh Shai was the atonement for the whole nation, but what would the high priest have to do first? Okay? What would the high priest have to do first, brothers? And if you can, put the precept before the high priest made an atonement for the sins of the nation, what would the high priest have to do? Okay? Just see, brother. You know? Let's see. Yep. You see that? What would he exactly? All right. Now let's get a precept, you brothers. Let's get a precept. I want to say, yeah. It's the brother Awalama War 777. It said this is Hebrews 7:27. It said, who needed not daily as those high priests to offer up sacrifice first for his own sins, okay, and then for the people's. For he did this once when he offered up himself, and that's what Yahweh Shai did. He cleaned up his own sins first. Okay, but then that's why, the scriptures talk about the crucifixion. When you go into Isaiah, his visage was worse than any man, because he paid for his own sins, but then he had to pay for the sins of everyone else. But he had to do this once, not yearly. Okay. Verse 28, it said, for the law maketh men high priests which have infirmity, but the word of oath, which was since the law, maketh the Son who is consecrated forevermore. Okay? So now the sacrifice and the way Yahweh Shai, with sacrifices should make sense. Okay. And then going back, and this is going back to the Levitical law. You know, the YT brothers were finding it, man. You know, we all iron sharpening iron. Okay, now this is Yashima tribe of Judah. Leviticus 4:3 says that the priest that is anointed do sin according to the sin of the people, then let him bring, all right, for his sin, which he have sinned, a young bullock without blemish unto the Lord for a sin offering. Okay, a young bullock without blemish unto the Lord for the sin offering. Now, all right, we're gonna get back. I said this is gonna be a long lesson. You know, lock in. We're gonna be here for a while. You gotta go. You gotta go through everything. You know. So now since that's brought out, you gotta bring this out in John. Okay, this is 1 John 1. All right, and 29. This 1 John 1:29 says the next day, John seeth Yahushua coming up to him and saying, behold, the Lamb of the Most High, which taketh away the sin of the world. Okay, which taketh away the sin of the world. You see that? That lamb without blemish. You see? That lamb without blemish, that was Yahushua. First for his sins and then for the sins of the nation. Okay? That's why when you had and this should make sense. Okay? Because Yahushua was perfect in their lifetime when he came back. You know, as Yahushua, he was perfect. Okay, which qualified him to be that lamb without blemish. Okay, that was going to be acceptable to the Most High. But now when we go here. This is Matthew 19 and all right, it's Matthew 19 and 16. All right, it says, and behold, one came unto him, okay, which is the him is Yahushua, good master, what good thing shall I do that I might have eternal life? And what did Yahushua call him? I mean, what did Yahushua respond? Let you know that he knew, okay? And he said unto him, why callest thou me good? There is none good but one, that is the Most High. Okay, but if thou will enter into life, keep the commandments, because he knew, okay, the things in his past life, man. Okay, and I said that's why he was so locked in during Yahushua. All right, because he had to clean up. Okay, he had to clean up, man. And I said he was locked in, you know, and he came through. You know, he came through for everybody, man. You know, so let's go back to the story. So we back in it, and Railbone is pretty much talking crazy. Okay, to Jeroboam and the rest of the tribe. This 1 Kings 12 and 12. So Jeroboam and all the people came to Railbone the third day, as the king had appointed, saying, come to me again the third day. And the king answered the people roughly and forsook the old men's counsels okay, that they gave him, and spake to them after the counsel of the young men, saying, my father made your yoke heavy, and I will add to your yoke. My father also chastened you with whips, but I will chasten you with scorpions. Wherefore the king hearkened unto the people, or hearkened not unto the people, for the cause was from the Lord, which means what? Yahweh Shema Shai is causing this to happen. Okay, why? And it's going to tell you that he might perform his saying, which the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai spake to Ahijah, all right, the Shilonite, unto Jeroboam the son of Nebat. So the Most High put the spirit on Rehoboam, okay, to listen to, the Most High put the spirit to the Rehoboam to reject the counsel of the older men, of the elders, okay, and he put the spirit on those young men that came up with Rehoboam, his homeboys, okay, to pretty much hype Rehoboam up, okay. Why? Because he wanted to cause that split. It says so because the man's going is of the Lord. All right. Showing that we all at the mercy of Yahweh Shema Shai. You know? 1 Kings 12:16. So when all Israel saw that the king hearkened not unto them, the people answered the king, saying, what portion have we in David? Neither have we inheritance in the son of Jesse. To your tents, O Israel, now see to thy own house. David, so Israel departed unto their tents. But as for the children of Israel which dwelt in the cities of Judah, Rehoboam reigned over them. Then King Rehoboam sent Adaram, who was over the tribute, and all Israel stoned him with stones that he died. Therefore King Rehoboam made speed to get him up to his chariot to flee to Jerusalem. Yeah, so when he sent out the tribute, they stoned him. When Rehoboam sent out, the treasurer to go get tribute, they stoned him, man. And that was what? An act of war. That was it. That was the statement. That was an act of war. Okay? It says, so Israel rebelled against the house of David unto this day. And it came to pass when all Israel heard that Jeroboam was come again, that they sent and called him unto the congregation and made him king over all Israel, that there was none that followed, all right, the house of David, but the tribe of Judah only. Okay? And then verse 21 gonna let you know. It says, and when Rehoboam was come to Jerusalem, he assembled all the house of Judah with the tribe of Benjamin. So let you know Benjamin stayed with Judah. Okay, because now tribes are choosing side. So Benjamin stayed with Judah. Okay, during the split. It says in 180,000 choice men, okay, which were warriors to fight against the house of Israel to bring the kingdom again to Rehoboam, the son of Solomon. But the word of the Most High came unto Shemaiah, the man of the Most High, saying, speak unto Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, king of Judah, all right, and unto all the house of Judah and Benjamin, and to the remnant of the people, saying, thus said the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai, you shall not go up nor fight against your brethren, the children of Israel. Return every man to his house, for this thing is from me. Okay? He's like, nah, the Most High, like, nah, this is what I want. Okay? And it's all for prophecy's sake. All right? He want this split. Pretty much he wanted this mess to remain in the earth until Yahweh Shai came back the second time. All right, until Yahweh Shai came back. Okay? You see how the Most High is working this thing, man? Yeah. Man, this is a hell of a movie, man. That the Most High has written in the earth that we're playing out, man. But the Most High, now leave that split. I want it to be like this, okay? And this would have a big effect of what Yahweh Shai would return to, okay? And it says, for this thing is from me. They hearken therefore to the word of the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai, and return to depart according to the word of the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai. It said, then Jeroboam built Shechem and Mount Ephraim and dwelt therein, and went out from this and built Peniel. And Jeroboam said in his heart, Now shall the kingdom return to the house of David, if this people go up to do sacrifice in the house of the Lord, Yahweh Shema Shai at Jerusalem, then all the heart of this people, all right, turn again unto their Lord, all right, even unto Rehoboam, king of Judah, and they shall kill him and go again to Rehoboam, king of Judah. So he's like, well, it's a split, but you still gotta go to Jerusalem to the temple and do sacrifice. Okay. So those people, those tribes go back and do sacrifice. Eventually, their minds are going to turn back, okay, to uniting, okay, with Judah. Okay. So he was like, we got to cut that out. All right. Verse 28 said, whereupon the king took counsel and made 2 calves of gold. And you see Jeroboam finna go off immediately. Okay. Whereupon the king took counsel and made 2 calves of gold and said unto them, it is too much for you to go up to Jerusalem. Behold, thy gods, O Israel, which brought thee out of the land of Egypt. So he immediately made 2 idols, gold calves, okay, and gave them the credit for bringing Israel out of Egypt. And he said the one in Bethel and the other put he in Dan. And this thing became a sin, for the people went to worship before the one, okay, even unto Dan. And he made a house of high places and made priests of the lowest of the people, which were not the sons of Levi. And that's why Levi didn't stay within the northern kingdom. They went to Judah, where they were still able to do the office of the priesthood. So that's how you have the southern kingdom of Benjamin, Levi, and Judah. Okay, because Jeroboam built idols, and then he put anybody as the priest. Okay, so the Levites joined into what? The southern kingdom, where they were still able to do their office. Okay, and Jeroboam ordained a feast in the 8th month, on the 15th day of the month, like unto the feast that is in Judah, and he offered upon the altar. So did he in Bethel, sacrificing unto the calves that he made, and he placed in Bethel the priest, all right, of the high places which he had made. Okay, it says, so he offered upon the altar which he had made in Bethel the 15th day of the 8th month, even in the month which he had devised, all right, of his own heart, and ordained a feast unto the children of Israel, and he offered upon the altar and burnt incense, man. Okay, so the split is it tries to split. Okay, Jeroboam went off immediately. Okay, tripping. Okay, made anybody the priest. So they pretty much push Levi to Benjamin and Judah. Okay, we've seen Benjamin chose Judah. They stayed with Judah, and Levi, okay, was pushed to the southern kingdom because of Jeroboam's, okay, decision to put anybody as a priest, and it was a priest to idols. Okay, so that's how you get those 3 tribes that make up the southern kingdom. Okay, when you read 1 Kings 12 and 30, 1 Kings 12, towards the end of the chapter. Okay, now let's go into Rehoboam's son. Let's get an account dealing with Rehoboam's son and the war between him and Jeroboam. Okay, and like I say, it is good to read 2nd Chronicles as well, to kind of get a good grip on history. Okay, dealing with going to Solomon, and the kings after Solomon, the split. 2nd Chronicles is a good book to read. These 36 chapters. Okay, well, let's go here to chapter 13. All right, now this is, all right, Abijah succeeds Rehoboam. Okay, now this 2nd Chronicles 13:1. It said, now in the 18th year, all right, of King Jeroboam, began Abijah to reign over Judah. Okay, it says he reigned 3 years in Jerusalem. His mother name also was Micaiah, the daughter of Uriel of Gilbert, and there was war between Abijah and Jeroboam. And Abijah set the battle in array with an army of violent men of war, even 400,000 choice men. Jeroboam also set the battle in array against him with 800,000 chosen men, being mighty men, all right, of valor. So you have 800,000, mighty men from the northern kingdom and 400, thousand men of the southern kingdom. Okay, and they finna lock up. And Abijah stood up upon Mount Zemarium, all right, which is in Mount Ephraim, and said, "Hear me, thou Jeroboam, and all Israel." So he's finna go into it. Ought ye not to know that the Lord Yahweh Shema Shah, power Israel, gave the kingdom over, all right, Israel to David forever, even to him and to his sons by a covenant of salt. Yet Jeroboam the son of Nebat, the servant of Solomon, the son of David, is risen up and have rebelled against his Lord. And all right, you see Lord in lowercase, which means he rebelled against the king. Okay, it says, and there are gathered unto him vain men, the children of Belial, all right, which is an idol, and have strengthened themselves against Rehoboam, the son of Solomon, when Rehoboam was young and tenderhearted and could not withstand them. Okay, and now ye think to withstand the kingdom of the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai, all right, in the hands of the sons of David, and ye be a great multitude, and there are with you golden calves, which Jeroboam made you for God. So he's calling out their idolatry. Okay, have you not cast out the priests of the Lord? Okay, what the Levites? You see that? Have you not cast out the priests of the Lord? All right, the sons of Aaron and the Levites, and have made you priests after the manner of the nations of the other lands, the heathens, so that whosoever cometh to consecrate himself with a young bullock and 7 rams, the same may be a priest of them that are no God. So he's calling out his priesthood. He's pretty much calling Jeroboam out for their wickedness, man. Okay, casting out the Levites and worshiping idols, man. Okay, verse 10. But as for us, the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai is our power, and we have not forsaken him. And the priests which minister unto the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai are the sons of Aaron, and the Levites wait upon their business. Okay, the office of the priesthood was still in play in the southern kingdom. All right, was still in effect. All right, and it says, and they burn unto the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai every morning and every evening burnt sacrifice and sweet incense. The showbread also set they in order upon the pure table, and the candlestick of gold with the lamps thereof to burn every evening. For we keep the charge of the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai power, but ye have forsaken him. And behold, Most High himself is with us, all right, for our captain, and his priests would sound in trumpets to cry alarm against you, O children of Israel. Fight ye not against the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai, power your fathers, for ye shall not prosper. Okay, so he pretty much telling them, look, y'all into idolatry, y'all cast out the priests. You don't want this, man, because you had the southern kingdom still being, faithful to a degree. Okay, and you're gonna, because the northern kingdom, the kings, none of them was right. Okay, they was, like I say, Jeroboam went off and they never recovered after that. Okay, and then you had the southern kingdom where you would have, kings that would do right. You got Asa, you got Josiah, Hezekiah. Okay, you got those kings that would do what was right. Okay, but then you had some of them southern kings cut up too. Now, we're gonna give an example. The southern king, you had some of them that cut up. Even Hezekiah's father, which we're gonna just get in a quick account. Okay, but going into this, all right, this was when the southern kingdom was still in good standing. Because they had Abijah. He was obedient. Okay. So he pretty much trying to tell Israel to stand down, the northern kingdom. Okay, but verse 13, but Jeroboam caused an ambushment to come about behind them, so that they were before Judah. All right, and the ambushment was behind them, so they surrounded, the southern kingdom. And when Judah looked back, behold, the battle was before and behind, and they cried unto the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai, and the priests sounded with the trumpets. Then the men of Judah gave a shout, and as the men of Judah shouted, it came to pass that the Most High smote Jeroboam and all Israel before Abijah and Judah, and the children of Israel fled before Judah, and the Most High delivered them into their hand. All right. And Abijah and his people slew them with a great slaughter. So there fell down slain of Israel 500,000 chosen men, 500,000 men. Okay. This wasn't no small disagreement between the northern and southern kingdom, man. Okay. It wasn't just no political arguments. Okay. 500,000 men died in one day. All right. It said, thus the children of Israel were brought under at that time, and the children of Judah prevailed because they relied upon the Lord, all right, the power of their fathers. Okay. So let's go here. Like I said, you will have, spurts of righteousness within the southern kingdom, but then eventually, they went haywire. All right, and we're going to get it. All right, this Hosea, all right, 11 and 12. It said, Ephraim compassing me about with lies, and that's the northern kingdom. Now, Hosea is around the time, these scholars say he died, maybe 746 BC, which is about 24 years before the Assyrians came and took the northern kingdom captive. And Hosea was pretty much trying to get the northern kingdom, to repent before their judgment came. Okay. But over, the southern kingdom still has spurts of righteousness, and that's why Hosea says this is Hosea 11 and 12 said, Ephraim compares me about with lies, and the house of Israel with deceit, but Judah yet ruleth with the Most High. Okay, and we just read that example. Okay, because the priests still had their office, and there was kings that would come out of Judah, that all right, serve Yahweh Shema Shah, that did right. It says, and is faithful with the saints. Okay. Now, as we read this, all right, remember this is before the Syrians took the northern tribes captives. Okay. Because say the house of Israel, the northern kingdom, they was just like they went straight into idolatry, and pretty much never came back. Okay, but Judah, they pretty much maintained, like I say, the priesthood, the office of the priesthood, serving Yahweh Shema Shai. Okay, still up maintaining the law, statutes, and commandments. But then eventually they will fall off as well. Okay, but the southern kingdom was preserved going back so that David will have a light always. Okay, and that light was Yahweh Shai. And that's why after Yahweh Shai, the death of, after Yahweh Shai returned back to the spiritual realm, you see eventually even the southern kingdom got removed out of the land as well. It was about 40 years later after Yahweh Shai, when the Most High just, took the southern kingdom out of that land as well. Okay? And we were scattered throughout the earth. Now, just to show, I said that you had some kings in the southern kingdom. Now this is the father of Hezekiah. Okay, Ahaz. Okay. Now this is 2 Chronicles 28:1. It says Ahaz was 20 years old when he began to reign. All right, he reigned 16 years in Jerusalem, but he did not that which was right in the sight of the Lord Yahweh Ba'ashem Shah, like David, his father. Okay, for he walked in the ways of the kings of Israel and made also molten images of Baalim, okay, of Balaam. All right. Moreover, he burnt incense in the valley of the sons of Hinnom and burnt his children in the fire after the abominations of the heathen whom the Lord Yahweh Shah had cast off before the children of Israel. So you had Ahab wilding, okay? He was wilding, man, okay? But it lets you know after Ahaz, you go to verse 27, and Ahaz slept with his father, and they buried him in the city, even in Jerusalem. But they brought him not into the sepulchre of the kings of Israel. That nigga was doing way too much, man. If you read that whole chapter, 28 verse, this nigga was doing way too much. They ain't even bury him with the other kings. Okay? And Hezekiah, his son, reigned in his stead. And we all know the story of Hezekiah. You know, he pretty much tried to invite the northern kingdom tribes back to keep that Passover, okay, which some of them did, okay. You know, you can go into that story. All right, so now we established the split. You know, we established, the dynamic of, the priesthood still being in the southern kingdom and the northern kingdom going to idolatry, okay. And remember, this all stemmed from Solomon. All right, at the end of his rulership, the folly that was at the end of his rulership. Okay, so is everybody good so far? Is there anything I need to go back, and expound on, or any questions, that you want to explain? All right, remember this is an open, question, lesson. Okay, still got a little bit to go. We're gonna dive into everything. I'm trying to, through the spirit, just touch every angle, So, okay, we good. Just give y'all a minute to kind of, but we finna go to the next phase now. All right, so everybody good, seems like. So let's go to the next phase now. Let's walk it down some more. Now let's go to Jeremiah. Okay. Well, you go to Jeremiah, the 3rd chapter. Now this is after, the Assyrians, all right, came and took the northern kingdom captive, and you still had, the southern kingdom in the land. Okay. This is Jeremiah 3:1. It says, they say if a man put away his wife, and she go from him and become another's man, shall he return unto her again? Shall not that land be greatly polluted? But thou hast played the harlot with many lovers, yet return again unto me, said the Lord. Okay. And this is him speaking to the southern kingdom, because now the southern kingdom is being plagued with idolatry. Okay. Now the southern kingdom is being plagued with idolatry, man. Okay. It says, lift up thine eyes unto the high places and see where thou hast not been lying with. Okay. In the ways hast thou set for them as the Arabian in the wilderness, and thou hast polluted the land with thy whoredoms and with thy wickedness, man. Idolatry. Okay. Jeremiah 3:3 said, therefore the showers have been withholding, okay, which is what the benefits of Yahweh Shema Shai, and there have been no latter rain, and thou hadst a whore's forehead, thou refusest to be ashamed. So now Judah, the southern kingdom, now they're getting all right, ridiculous. All right, because they want, they were trying to maintain, the priesthood and be in order, but now they're getting ridiculous and beside themselves, man. Okay. And it says, I'm gonna jump down to verse 6. It says, the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai said also unto me in the days of Josiah the king, hast thou seen that which backsliding Israel have done? She is gone up upon every high mountain and under every green tree and have played the harlot. Okay, because especially the northern kingdom had a major influence by the Assyrian, empire. They was influenced heavily by the Assyrian and the Egyptian empire. All right, and those gods and idols that came with it. Okay, they played the harlot. All right, verse 7, it says, and I said, after she had done all these things, turned down to me, but she returned not, and her treacherous sister Judah saw it. Yeah, the southern kingdom saw, okay, the continued idolatry of the northern kingdom, and that they refused to return. No priesthood, just doing their thing, pretty much living like the heathens. Okay, it says, and I saw when for all the causes whereby backsliding Israel committed adultery, I put her away and given her a bill of divorce. Yet her treacherous sister Judah feared not, but went and played the harlot also. Okay, so when you go into the northern and southern kingdom, like I say, the northern kingdom they was wilding for a long time. Okay, but eventually the southern kingdom started wilding as well. Okay, and playing the harlot. So can't compare like, well, the northern kingdom was worse, and the southern kingdom was better, and eventually everybody was through. Okay, when Yahweh Shai will come to the scene, everybody gonna be through. Okay. So go verse 9, it says, and it came to pass through the lightness of her whoredom that she defiled the land and committed adultery with stones, okay, and with stocks. And yet for all this, her treacherous sister Judah have not turned unto me with her whole heart, but vainly, saith the Lord. Okay, but vainly, which means what? It wasn't sincere. The southern kingdom pretty much started just going through the motion with the sacrifice and the duty of the temple. Okay, they became unsincere with it. They were just going through the motion, but their hearts really went after idolatry. Okay, let's see the word vainly. Okay, yep. It says to lie. All right, let's get the word in Hebrew. What is it then? Okay, shaquar. Okay, shaquar, which means to lie, deception, falsehood, fraud, deceit. Okay. It says false or self-deceived prophets. Okay. So Israel started to just, the southern kingdom just started to go through the motions, okay, with the sacrifice. It wasn't sincere. And that's why Yahweh Shai will say this, man. The southern kingdom, they weren't sincere. They were trying to, pull one over just by going through the motion. Okay. Burn the incense and, still fasting and, calling on the name, but it wasn't sincere. Their mind really was after idolatry. We're going to get an example. Now this is 1 Kings 1. That's like this Isaiah chapter 1. And you see it says the Most High has had enough. Okay. It says, hear the word of the Lord, ye rulers of Sodom. So he's likening the southern kingdom unto Sodom now. Give ear unto the law of our power, ye people of Gomorrah. Okay. To what purpose is the multitude of your sacrifices unto me, said the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Shai. I am full of the burnt offerings of rams and the fat of beasts, and I delight not in the blood of bullocks or the lamb, all right, or of he goats. When ye come to appear before me, who have required this at your hand, okay, to tread my courts. You see, because it wasn't sincere. Bring no more vain oblations, incense is abomination unto me, the new moons and Sabbaths, the calling of assemblies, I cannot away with. It is iniquity, even the solemn meeting. Your new moons and your appointed feasts, my soul hateth. All right. They are a trouble unto me. I am weary to bear them, because he knew they was going through the motions. They really wasn't into it. Okay. Their hearts was really after, all right, idolatry. And when ye spread forth your hands, I will hide my eyes from you. Yeah, when you make many prayers, I will not hear. Your hands are full of blood. Okay. And we're gonna get an account just to show you the mindset that the Southern Kingdom had got into, man. And they was trusting these other, all right, the guys of these heathens, okay, and they thought the militaries of these heathens was gonna keep them secure, you know, from the punishment of Yahweh Bashim Shai. So you would have Jake. They would hear the word of the prophet and what the Lord was gonna do. So Jake thought they were gonna be cute and leave Israel and go to Egypt, okay. But Jeremiah was sent to Egypt to cuss Jake ass out, man. All right, and listen to the response. Okay, now this is Jeremiah 44:1. It says the word that came to Jeremiah, because remember, Judah seen the southern kingdom seen the Syrians take down the northern kingdom. Okay, so in Jeremiah is telling them about the Babylonians, what they gonna do. You had some Jake, you know, as they thought they were gonna be cute and avoid the judgment. Okay. It says the word that came to Jeremiah concerning all the Jews which dwell in the land of Egypt, which dwell in Migdal and Tapanhes and at Naph and in the country of Pathros, saying, okay, Jeremiah 44:2. Thus said the Lord of hosts, the power of Israel, you have seen all the evil that I have brought upon Jerusalem and upon all the cities of Judah, and behold, this day they are desolation, and no man dwelleth therein, because of their wickedness which they have committed to provoke me to anger, and that they went to burn incense and to serve other gods whom they knew not, neither they, ye nor your fathers. Howbeit, I sent unto you all my servants the prophets, rising early and sending them, saying, oh, do not this abominable thing that I hate. But they hearken not, nor incline their ear to turn therefrom wickedness, to burn no incense unto other gods. Wherefore my fury and my anger was poured forth and was kindled in the cities of Judah and the streets of Jerusalem, and they are wasted and desolate at this day. Therefore, now thus said the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Shai, the power of hosts, the power of Israel, wherefore commit ye this great evil against your souls, to be cut off from you, man and woman, child and suckling out of Judah, to leave you none to remain, and that you provoke me into wrath with the works of your hands, burning incense unto other gods in the land of Egypt, whether ye be gone to dwell, that ye might cut yourselves off, that ye might be a curse and a reproach among all nations of the earth. Have you forgotten the wickedness of your fathers, and the wickedness of the kings of Judah, and the wickedness of their wives, and your own wickedness, and the wickedness of your wives, which they have committed in the land of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem? They are not humble even unto this day, neither have they feared nor walked in my law, nor in my statutes that I set before you and before your fathers. Therefore, thus said the Lord of hosts, the power of Israel, behold, I will set my face against you for evil, and to cut off all Judah, and will take the remnant of Judah that I have set their faces to go into the land of Egypt to sojourn there, and they shall be consumed and fall in the land of Egypt. They shall even be consumed by the sword and by the famine. They shall die from the least even to the greatest by the sword and by famine, and they shall be an execration and an astonishment and a curse and a reproach. For I will punish them that dwell in the land of Egypt, as I have punished Jerusalem by the sword, by famine, and by pestilence. Okay, because the Babylonians had, came and took captive, the southern kingdom, but you had a remnant of Israel that was a remnant of the southern kingdom that was in Egypt. Okay, and they thought they were just gonna continue with their idolatry in Egypt unscathed. Okay, but the Most High even had the Babylonians come to Egypt, man. Okay, it says, so that none of the remnant of Judah, which are going into the land of Egypt to sojourn there, shall escape or remain, that they shall return into the land of Judah, to which they have a desire to return to dwell there, for none shall return but such as shall escape. Then all the men which knew that their wives had burned incense unto other gods, and all the women that stood by, a great multitude, even all the people that dwelt in the land of Egypt and Pathros, answered Jeremiah, saying, as for the word that thou hast spoken, all right, unto us in the name of the Lord Yahweh Bashim Al-Shah, we will not hearken unto thee. Okay, the southern kingdom started to cut up. They got way beside themselves. This is how they're answering Jeremiah. He said, but we will certainly do whatsoever thing goeth forth out of our own mouth to burn incense unto the Queen of Heaven. And you see that Queen of Heaven energy heavy amongst the southern kingdom today. Okay, that dear mama spirit, that boys to men, mama. Okay, would you honor your mother? All right, the scriptures say, but you don't worship your mother, man, or worship the woman. Okay, and this is why even today, especially the nigga woman is able to make a career out of OnlyFans, because there's nothing but the Queen of Heaven worship, man. Okay, to make a career off being an Instagram model, there's nothing but the Queen of Heaven worship, man. Okay, it says, and to pour out drink offerings to her, as we have done, we and our fathers, our kings, and our princes in the cities of Judah and in the streets of Jerusalem. For then, all right, had we plenty of victuals and were well, and we saw no evil. And that's why the scriptures say, rise up, you women that are at ease, because there was benefits to serving, in certain systems, there was benefits of serving idols. Okay, the Egyptians, see the when you go into these other heathen empires, the more you serve their idols, the more you will be benefited by, their sovereignty. Okay, so it was good for the moment, but see, there's a judgment that comes to those sovereignties that go into idolatry, man. Okay, yeah, you might benefit for the moment, but what about the overall judgment that's coming? And we see that today. All right. Now listen to this. It said, but since we left off to burn incense to the Queen of Heaven and to pour our drink offerings unto her, we have wanted all things and have been consumed by the sword and by famine. So they're giving credit to their prosperity, okay, to the Queen of Heaven. Okay. And this is the women answering. It says, and when we burn incense to the Queen of Heaven and poured out drink offerings to her, did we make her cakes to worship her and pour out drink offerings unto her without our men? Okay. So Judah was finished, man. And the Most High was fed up with them too. All right. And he ran through them. Okay. Put them in captivity. They lost their little sovereignty that they had. All right. But now, you know, you had the Medo-Persian Empire, which eventually allowed Southern Kingdom to go rebuild their temple. Okay, and through that, what did you have? You still had a remnant, you know, of some type of sovereignty for the Southern Kingdom, because Yahweh Shah had to, come through that line. Yahweh Shah hasn't came yet, and that's why I say after Yahweh Shah, the Most High did away with the Southern Kingdom as well, and we all scattered. Okay, but that's why when you go into it, now Yahweh Shah ministry makes more sense. Okay, because even during the time of the Maccabees, or at the time of the book of Maccabees, you had wicked, Jakes, okay, of the Southern Kingdom. All right. So during the time of the Maccabees, what happened is you had a lot of our people that was what? Hellenized. Okay. If you go into, I get this real quick. So you had the split of the Northern and Southern Kingdom, but then you had the Southern Kingdom that will become Hellenized, all right, under the Greek rulership. Okay. When you go to, so pretty much to sum it up, Yahweh Shah will come back to a shit show. You see? But it started from so you go to 2nd Maccabees chapter 4. All right. Second Maccabees 4 and 7 says, but after the death of Seleucus, when Antiochus called Epiphanes, all right, took the kingdom, Jason, the brother of Onanias, labored underhand to be high priest, and Onanias was a righteous, priest. Okay, but his brother was wicked. He wanted to be the priest for the sake, because the priesthood during the time of the Greeks, okay, was like a political office. The high priest would represent Israel, within, geopolitical affairs. Okay. Even Alexander, in history it said that he interacted with the priesthood, all right, when he was conquering. And he pretty much allowed, Jake to continue to keep the law, to pretty much have, what they call like a religious sovereignty. Okay. So you had men that would want the priesthood, for the perks of, a political position. Okay. And that's why Yahweh Shah, when he came back, he was cussing out the leadership of Jake. Okay. Because you had the Maccabean revolt. It started because the priesthood was so corrupt to what Jake was offering swine on the altar, man. And Mattathias, the father of Judas, lost it. Okay. And that's where you get that revolt from. That's that remnant. They pretty much reserved, a righteous standard until the time of Yahweh Shah. Okay, because the Pharisees, you have to understand, the Pharisees were descendants of that Maccabean revolt. Those were the Levites and, Benjamin and Judites that descended from that Maccabean revolt. And they wanted to preserve, their law. But you still had wicked men amongst the Pharisees that, by the time Yahweh Shah came, the Romans was in power. They still wanted to use their office as a political office, okay, for their own individual perks. You go into Caiaphas, the high priest, it was said that he lived in palaces, man. Okay. And while Yahweh Shah came back cursing out the leadership, and we're going to get some accounts now. It says, Jason, the brother of Ananias, labored underhand to be high priest, promising unto the king by an intercession 303 score talents of silver, and about, it says, in another revenue 80 talents. So you had Jake trying to buy the high priest office. Okay, and it says, promising unto the king by intercession 300 talents of silver and another revenue 80 talents. Besides this, he promised to assign 150 more if he might have license to set up a place for exercise and for the training up of the youth and to the fashions of the heathens, okay, and to write them of Jerusalem by the name of Antiochians, okay. So he wanted to train up the youth in the fashions of the heathen, but he wanted to be high priest, showing you that okay, the leadership was off. And this is the southern kingdom. Okay? And it says, when the king had granted and had gotten into his own hand the rule, he forthwith brought his own nation to the Greekish fashion, man. Okay? And that's why you had those of the southern kingdom that was considered Greeks during the time of Yahushua, and and the apostles, the New Testament. Okay? So you had the split of the northern and southern kingdom, and then you had the split of the circumcision, those that remained, all right, under the law, okay, under a priesthood, and then you had those the uncircumcised who was likened to Greeks, man, because they went after, they were trained up in the ways of the heathen. So now you gotta fast forward to Yahushua. Yahushua came back, all right, to a shit show, man. Okay, so let's get Romans 3 and 20. That's why no one, northern kingdom, southern kingdom, the circumcision, the uncircumcised, no one has room for boasting. Okay, we was all through. Ain't no debate of who went off worse or who did this the worst. We all through. Okay, even when you go to, let's get this real quick, and then we'll start wrapping it up. Now we're gonna get into Yahushua. Let's get this dealing with the southern kingdom, okay? Because the southern kingdom will try to boast as if they was they were better off than the northern kingdom and those Greeks. All right, those Israelites. All right, they were pretty much likened to Greeks. Now, when you go to St. John 19, because remember, the southern kingdom is guilty of what, how they handled Yahushua when he was there. Okay, who was coming back to clean everything up. Okay. Now this is St. John 19:1. It says, then Pilate therefore took Yahushua and scourged him, and the soldiers platted, all right, a crown of thorns and put it on his head, and they put on him a purple robe and said, Hail, King of the Jews, and they smote him with their hands. Pilate therefore went forth again and said unto them, Behold, I bring forth to you that ye may know that I found no fault in him. Then came Yahushua forth wearing the crown of thorns and the purple robe, and Pilate said unto them, Behold the man. When the chief priest therefore and the officers saw him, they cried out, Crucify him, crucify him. Pilate said unto them, Take ye him and crucify him, for I found no fault in him. Then Yahushua answered, We have a law. Then it said the Jews answered him, We have a law, and by our law he ought to die because he made himself the son of the Most High. And you see how they tried to weaponize the law. They wasn't sincere. Okay? They wasn't sincere. It says, when Pilate therefore heard that saying, he was the more afraid, and went again into the judgment hall and said to Yahushua, Whence art thou? It says, but Yahushua gave him no answer. Then said Pilate unto him, Speakest thou not unto me? Knowest that I have the power to crucify thee and the power to release thee? And that's when Pilate made himself guilty, because he said then that he had the power to crucify and release, no matter what the Jews said. Okay, no matter what Jake was talking about, the final decision was on him, but it was meant, all right, because Esau and these wicked niggas are responsible, okay, for the treatment of Yahushua. And then Yahushua was cleaning that mess up. So the Most High was doing so many things surrounding this crucifixion, man. Okay, that's why it was very heavy. And Yahushua had to go through with it because there was a lot of things happening, man. People was getting condemned. Some Israelites was, being forgiven. Okay, Esau being condemned. Okay, there's a lot going on. But this is what Yahushua, says that Yahushua answered, Thou couldst have no power at all against me except it was given from above. Hey, so Yahushua, he said that, Yahushua was like, hold on, nigga. Okay. Get this shit straight before we go any further. Okay. Hey, let's straighten this out before we even go on with this. And he answered and said, Thou couldst have no power at all against me, except it was given thee from above. So he let them know the authority that you got to do this to me comes from above. Okay? You ain't got no power within yourself, man. Don't don't get beside yourself. Okay? It said, Therefore he that delivered me, speaking of the southern kingdom, unto thee have the greatest sin. Okay? If a brother can post Jeremiah 17:1. Okay, let's post Jeremiah 17:1. It says, verse 12 says, And from hence and thenceforth Pilate sought to release him, but the Jews cried out, If thou let this man go, thou art not Caesar's friend. Whosoever maketh himself a king speaketh against Caesar. So you had Jake siding with Caesar over Yahushua, man. Southern kingdom. Okay. So all the things that the northern kingdom was into, the idolatry and the wickedness and wilding out, Judah just as guilty, man. Wilding out. Southern kingdom just as guilty. They can't boast, okay, as if they, they had a better record, than the northern kingdom. Okay, no. We all through. Okay. When Pilate therefore heard that saying, he brought forth he brought Yahushua forth and sat down in the judgment seat in the place that they call the pavement, but in Hebrew, Gabbatha, okay? And it was the preparation of the Passover, all right, and lamb, and about the 6th hour, and he said unto the Jews, Behold your king. But they cried out, away with him, crucify him, all right? Pilate said unto them, Shall I crucify your king? The chief priest answered, We have no king but Caesar, man. Okay? We have no king but Caesar. And then it was the southern kingdom that said, Let his blood be upon us and our children. Okay, Jeremiah 17:1. It said the sin of Judah, all right, this is from the brother Bayan Yasha, the sin of Judah is written with a pen of iron and with the point of a diamond. It is graven upon the table of their heart and upon the horns, okay, and upon the horns of your altar, okay. So Judah has, the southern kingdom has a heavy sin on them, man, and that's why Yahushua, accepting that, when you submit to Yahushua, you're accepting that sacrifice, man. You're accepting that sacrifice that he made, and that's cover us, man. But without Yahushua, hey, and that's why we finna see Jacob trouble. That's why we see the Most High finna spaz out, man. All these accounts that we read, hey, like the brother said, all these. Let's get that, man. Okay, all these accounts, okay, that we read, Yahweh Shema Shah, It's gonna require that, man. Okay, it's the brother our Lamb of War. Ecclesiastes 3:15 said that which have been is now, and that generation is back. That said, crucify him, they back. Okay, and that which is to be have already been, and the Most High required that which is past, man. Okay, so hey, Jacob trouble is gonna be horrific, man. Okay, for Northern Kingdom, Southern Kingdom, for everybody that's not gathered unto Yahushua. Okay, everyone that's not gathered under that banner of Yahushua through faith and obedience. Hey, Most High gonna require everything that's past, man. Okay, now let's go from there and let's get this real quick. And this is why the Apostle Paul is making this statement. Okay, nobody has room to boast. No tribe, no, I don't care if you third generation, knowing that you were Israelite, your granddaddy was in the temple, okay? Your great granddaddy was, with the testament keepers, okay? Nobody has room to boast. All right, we all need mercy, man. Okay. All right, this is Romans 3:23. Says, "For all have sinned and come short of the glory of the Most High." All of Israel, being justified freely by His grace through the redemption that is in Yahushua HaMashiach, because Yahushua created grace period. When we could rehearse the righteous acts, man. Without the weight and burden, of all the consequence that came with that law. Okay, so let's get to Yahushua. All right, and we're gonna see how Yahushua, came and tied everything back together. Now, let's get some parables. Yahushua was addressing this, through parables. When you get, okay, let's get on John chapter 8. All right, this is St. John 8:1. It says Yahushua, all right, went out. It said went unto the Mount of Olives, and early in the morning he came again into the temple, and all the people came and sat down and taught them. And the scribes and the Pharisees brought unto him a woman taken in adultery. Okay, and when they had set her in the midst, they said unto him, Master, this woman was taken in adultery in the very act. Now Moses in the law commanded us that such should be stoned, but what sayest thou? This they said, tempting him, that they might have to accuse him. But Yahushua stooped down and with his finger wrote on the ground as though he heard them not. So when they continued asking him, he lifted up himself and said unto them, He that is without sin among you, let him cast, all right, let him first cast a stone at her. Okay? So he was writing their sins in the dirt. You see? Because they had that holy denial spirit. And then it says, verse 8, again, he stooped down and wrote on the ground, and they which heard it, being convicted by their own conscience, they were seeing their sins, okay, went out one by one, beginning at the eldest, because they've been alive the longest, so they probably had a hell of a record, okay, even unto the last, and Yahushua was left alone, and the woman standing in the midst. When Yahushua lifted up himself and saw no one but the woman, he said unto her, Woman, where are those thine accuser? Have no man condemned thee? Okay? So Yahushua was pretty much saying, look, everybody through. Yeah, even I got to atone for, he said, even Yahushua said there was only one good. Okay? So you can't, nobody can accuse this tribe or the uncircumcised. No one can accuse everybody through. Everybody needs to start over. It's a reset. Okay? She said, no man, O Lord. And Yahushua said unto her, neither do I condemn thee. Go and sin no more. But he still left conditions of what? Go sin no more. And adultery, the main adultery, all right, that plagued our people, spiritual adultery. Okay. And then Jake was off because if she was caught in the act of adultery, well, where the man was at? Because both of them supposed to be put to death. So why wasn't the man brought out? Okay. They were being hypocrites, man. Okay. They was being hypocrites, man. All right. So let's get another parable. And how Shah was addressing it, you know, in these parables, man. Let's get Luke. Get Luke 15. All right, Luke 15:1. It said, then drew near, all right, unto him all the publicans and sinners, all right, for to hear him. And the Pharisees and scribes murmured, saying, this man receiveth sinners and eateth with them. And he spake this parable unto them, saying, what man of you having 100 sheep, if he lose one of them, doth not leave the 99 in the wilderness to go after that which is lost until he find it? Okay. And when he have found it, he laid it up on his shoulders, rejoicing. He said he laid it up on his shoulders, rejoicing. What they remind you of, brother? Can the brother post Isaiah 9:6-7? Man, this is beautiful. Hey, Yahushua was all about putting everything back together, man. Okay? And he was like, well, I got to be the sacrifice to open this grace period. You know? Because he understood, because he said one greater than Solomon is here. Okay? He knew. Okay? He knew that, hey, the loss, they stem from, hey, they stem from something. So like I say, Yahushua came with the chip on his shoulder. That's why he was about business, man. He had time to play, and no, he was about the Father's business, man. Okay? So he laid it on his shoulder, man. Man, this is brother Avalon War. This is Isaiah 9:6. For unto us a child is born, Yahushua, and unto us a son is given. The government shall be upon his shoulder. Okay, the burden of the government. All right, and his name shall be called the Wonderful Counselor. Okay, Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty Power, the Everlasting, the Prince of Peace. All right. Of the increase of his government and peace, there shall be no end upon the throne of David, okay, and upon his kingdom. Going back to that throne of David, that promise, that light, to order and to establish it with judgment and justice henceforth forever. The zeal of the Lord of hosts will perform this, man. Okay. Yahushua is making everything right, man. Okay. So let's go back to Luke. And it says, and when he cometh home, he calleth together his friends and neighbors, saying unto them, rejoice with me, for I have found my sheep which was lost. I say unto you that likewise joy shall be in heaven over one sinner that repenteth, more than 199 just person which need no repentance, man. Okay? Because it's great. All right. It's a great thing for our people to uphold, a standard, okay, and be in order. But what about those that are lost? Okay, they have to be brought back in. This is what this thing is for, bringing those in that are lost. Okay, it says, either what woman having 10 pieces of silver, okay, if she lose one piece, okay, and it's in the spirit because remember the 10 tribes was given to Jeroboam, okay. If she lose one piece, doth not light a candle. Who is that candle? That light, Yahweh Shai, and sweep the house and seek diligently till she find it. And when she have found it, she called her friends and her neighbors together, saying, "Rejoice with me, for I have found the piece which I had lost." Okay. Likewise, I say unto you, there is joy in the presence of the angels of the Most High over one sinner that repenteth. All right, and this is the main point going to this parable. Okay, but you see the theme. All right, it says, and he said, a certain man had two sons, and the younger of them said to his father, "Give me the portion of goods that falleth to me," and he divided unto them his living. So the younger son what took their inheritance. Okay, it says, and not many days after, the younger son gathered all together and took his journey into a far country, and there wasted his substance with riotous living. Okay, and when you go into the lifestyle of these heathens, is what, man? A very riotous way of living. When you look at society today, this is nothing but heathen culture dominating the earth, man. Okay, a partying BS culture, the excessive drinking, the excessive drug use, the excessive, vain sex. Okay, it's a very righteous way of living. Drunken fights and shootouts and brawls. Okay, it says, and when he had spent, and when he had spent all, there arose a mighty famine in the land, and he began to be in want. And he went and joined himself to a citizen of that country, and he sent him into the fields to feed swine. And he would fain, all right, have filled his belly with the husk, all right, that the swine did eat, and no man gave unto him. And when he came to himself, okay, and he said, how many hired servants of my father's house have bread enough to spare, and I perish with hunger? So he began to look at his circumstances like, shit, I'm out here, I don't have no structure. I don't have no one telling me what to do. I'm out here doing what I want to do. But then he realizes that the care, all right, in his father's house, even the servants of his father, have bread to spare. Okay, which is abundance. Okay, matter of fact, what did let's get St. John 10 and 10. Let's get St. John 10 and 10. Okay. Let's get St. John 10 and 10. Okay. So he's realizing that he was better off under his father. Okay. He came to a conclusion. That's what we've come to the conclusion to. This is St. John 10 and 10. This is brother Yashima tribe of Judah. It said, the thief cometh not but for to steal and to kill and to destroy. I am come that they might have life and that they might have it more abundantly. Okay. And this young son realized that in his father's house he had abundance. Okay. And it says, I will arise and go to my father. And that's what Yahweh Shai, was coming to bring back, man. Abundance amongst our people, man. And it says, I will arise and go to my father and will say unto him, Father, I have sinned against, all right, heaven and before thee. Okay. Hey, because remember, under Solomon, when Solomon was in his right mind, okay, it says silver was as stones. Okay, and the cedar tree, which is a very precious, high quality tree, was like the sycamore, which means what? It was common, which means what? They had abundance. So Yahweh Shai is going back to the era when Solomon had it right. Okay. So this time it's going to be a major upgrade because we're going to be immortal. and the law is going to be within us, man. Okay? It said, I will arise and go to my father, and I will say unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and before thee. Repentance, he repented. And it says, and am no more worthy to be called thy son. Make me as one of thy hired servants. So he's coming with the humility, man. True, sincere. And that's what Yahweh Shema Shai wants, man. That's what, matter of fact, a brother can post it in our let's get Psalms 50. Let's get Psalms 51. So like let's get Psalms 51. Let's get Psalms 51, verse 16 and 17. Matter of fact, let's get Psalms 51, verses 16 through 19. We'll read, okay, the rest of it. We read that, the end of the whole chapter. Psalms 51, verses 16 through 19. Okay. So this is brother Awalam of War 777. This is Psalm 51 and 16. It says, For thou desires not sacrifice. Remember, Jake ran the sacrifice to the ground. It wasn't sincere. Else would I give it. Thou delightest not in burnt offering. Okay, now remember, this was a prayer of King David after he committed, adultery. Okay. It said the sacrifices of the Most High are a broken spirit, a broken and a contrite heart, O power, thou would not despise. And we're seeing in this parable, okay, that this son has a broken and contrite heart. He's like, I ain't even worthy to be a son. Just let me be a servant. You see that? It says, do good, okay, do good in thy good pleasures unto Zion. Build, it's like I skipped 17. Okay, verse 18, it says, do good in thy good pleasure unto Zion, build thou the walls, okay, of Jerusalem, okay, then shalt thou be pleased with the sacrifices of righteousness, with burnt offerings and whole burnt offering, then shall they offer bullocks upon thy altar. Okay, you see that? And that's why Yahweh known as what? The Prince of Peace. Okay? And it says, I read Luke 15 and 19. It says, and am no more worthy to be called thy son. Make me as one of thy hired servants. And he arose and came to his father. But when he was yet great way off, his father saw him and had compassion and ran and fell on his neck and kissed him. And the son said unto him, Father, I have sinned against heaven and in thy sight, and am no more worthy to be called thy son. But the father said to his servant, bring forth the best robe and put it on him, and put a ring on his hands and shoes on his feet, man. Come on, man. We know what this talking about, man. Put on the best robe. Okay? Bring the best robe. Put this, my son. He done came back. Put the best robe on him. Put a ring on his hands, shoes on his feet, man. You see that? Man. Decking us out, man. Okay, and well, it begins with repentance, man. We're gonna be decked out, man. Now listen to this. And bring hither the fatted calf and kill it, and let us eat and be merry. Okay, for this is my son, was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found, and they began to make merry. Okay? Their dead bodies shall lie in the streets. It's just called spiritual Sodom in Egypt. Well, what? Their breath of life. Okay. Man, it said neither his elder son, I say now his elder son was in the field, okay, and as he came and drew nigh to the house, he heard music and dancing, and he called one of the servants and asked what these things meant. And he said unto him, thy brother is come, and thy father hath killed the fatted calf, because he had received him safe and sound, and he was angry and would not go in. He was bitter. Okay. Therefore came his father out and entreated him. And he answered and said to his father, lo, these many years do I serve thee, neither transgress I at any time thy commandment, and yet thou never gave me a kid that I might make merry with my friends. But as soon as thy son was come, which have devoured thy living with harlots, okay, thou hast killed for him the fatted calf. And you can like this into the southern kingdom being envious of the northern kingdom, and also of the Hellenized, our people that was Hellenized, man. Okay, they like, because it's like, well, we stayed, we kept the priesthood going. Okay, we kept the sacrifices going. We stayed here while they was all over the earth wilding. Okay, living with harlots, what idolatry, man. Okay, and he said unto him, son, thou art ever with me, and all that I have is thine. So he like, look, you got a great inheritance coming, man. Okay, you got a great inheritance. You good. Okay, but we celebrate those that were lost, man, coming back. It said it was meet that we should make merry and be glad, for this thy brother was dead and is alive again, and was lost and is found. Okay, that's why Yahushua was locked in, man. He was getting everybody back together, man. Until Shiloh shall the gathering of the people be, man. Okay, so when you go to here to Ephesians, let's get this in Ephesians 2. It's Ephesians 2 and 11. It says, wherefore remember that ye being in time past Gentiles in the flesh, okay, who are called uncircumcision by those which is called the circumcision in the flesh made by hands, that at that time you were without Yahushua, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel, that inheritance, and strangers from the covenants of promise, having no hope, and without the Most High in the world. Okay, but now in Yahushua HaMashiach, you have ye who were sometimes far off are made nigh by the blood of Yahushua. Let you know it's only talking about Israelites, man, because of the history of the split, the history of our people being Hellenized. Okay, but through Yahushua, everything is being tied back together, man. Okay, that's standard. You see, and it said, for he is our peace. Remember that Prince of Peace. Okay, peace between the tribes, and peace between the tribes and the Heavenly Father is through Yahushua, who have made both one, and have broken down the middle wall of partition between us, having abolished in the flesh the enmity, even the law of commandments contained in ordinances, for to make in himself of twain one new man, so making peace. Okay, twain, which is two. No more northern and southern kingdom. Everyone is being gathered under the banner of Yahushua. The enmity. Okay. It says, and that he might reconcile both. Okay. No more circumcision, uncircumcision. Okay. All these divisions and separations, he's reconciling. It said both unto the Most High, one body by the cross, having slain the enmity thereof, man. His sacrifice, it killed that enmity, okay, between northern and southern, the circumcision and uncircumcision. That's why you have today, what do you have? Multiple tribes, northern and southern kingdom brothers standing together on the front line of this spiritual war. Okay? And it says, and came and preached peace to you which were afar off, and to them which were nigh. Okay? Those that were in the land, there was, Yahushua in the midst of them. And the apostle, which mean what? Sent forth. They were sent to those that were far off, man. Okay? It said, for through him we both have access by one spirit unto the Father. Okay? Now, therefore, you are no more strangers and foreigners, but fellow citizens with the saints and of the household of the Most High. Okay? And are built upon the foundation of the apostles and prophets, Yahushua himself being the chief cornerstone. Okay, in whom all the building fitly framed together growth unto a holy temple unto the Lord. Okay, in whom ye are built together for an habitation of the Most High through the Spirit, man. Okay, all the tribes coming together with Yahushua being that chief cornerstone, man. Okay, now let's end it here. See that those, that. Let's get Ezekiel. All right, you get Ezekiel 37. And this is why the chart. See, brothers, what we're doing, you brothers that go to camp, hey, we're part of something major, okay, that's happening. Okay. Now, this is Ezekiel 37:15 said, the word of the Lord, Yahweh Shai, came again unto me, saying, moreover, thou son of man, take thee one stick and write upon it for Judah, okay, the southern kingdom, and for the children of Israel, of his companions. Then take another stick and write upon it for Joseph, the stick of Ephraim, okay, and for all the house of the Israel and his companions, all 12 tribes. Okay, that's just the sign that you see at camp. Okay, that's their stick. And join them one to another, all 12 tribes on their one stick, their one plank, and they shall become one in thine hand. And when the children of our people shall speak, all right, shall speak unto thee, saying, wilt thou not show us what thou meanest by these? Okay, because the stick does, people come by the camp. We seen it. You at camp or you seen on camera, people stop by to inquire. They see their tribe on there, man. Okay, and they inquire of it. Okay, and says, say unto them, thus said the Lord power, behold, I will take the stick of Joseph, which is in the hand of Ephraim, and the tribes of Israel, his fellows, and will put them with him, even with the stick of Judah, and make them one, all right, one stick, and they shall be one in my hand, all right, and the sticks whereon thou writest, okay, shall be in thy hand before their eyes, and say unto them, thus said the Lord power, behold, I will take the children of Israel from among the heathen, whether they be gone, and will gather them on every side and bring them to their own land, and I will make them one nation in the land upon the mountains of Israel, and one king shall be king to them all, and they shall no more, all right, and they shall be no more two nations, neither shall they be divided into two kingdoms anymore at all. Okay? This is the time he's doing this now. All right? Nevertheless, shall they defile themselves. I said, neither shall they defile themselves anymore with idols, nor with detestable things, nor with any of their transgression, but I will save them out of all their dwelling places wherein they have sinned, and will cleanse them so that they be my people, and I will be their power. And David, my servant, shall be king over them, and they all shall have one shepherd. They shall walk in my judgments and observe my statutes and do them, and they shall dwell in the land that I have given unto Jacob my servant, wherein your fathers had dwelt, and they shall dwell therein, even they and their children children forever, and my servant David shall be their prince forever. Okay, and above David is going to be who? Yahushua. That's why David said, my Lord said unto my Lord. All right, David acknowledged that he had a Lord. Okay. And it says, moreover, I will make a covenant of peace with them. Okay, the Prince of Peace, Yahushua. And it's all right with Solomon. Okay, we mean what? Peace. It shall be an everlasting covenant with them, and I will place them and multiply them, and will sanctify. All right, and what it says, and will set my sanctuary in the midst of them forevermore. My tabernacle also shall be with them. Yeah, I will be their power, and they shall be my people. And the heathen shall know that I, the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai, do sanctify Israel, when my sanctuary shall be in the midst of them forevermore. Okay? The end game, man. He gonna be our power, and we're gonna be his people, man. All 12 tribes. Okay? So that's the point. Like I said, I knew, they were gonna run kind of long, but I had to bring it all, together, and then some. Okay. Matter of fact, brother, if you can post verses 11 and 12 as well, But yeah, I knew it was gonna be a marathon, but the only way to kind of make it make sense is just to go through everything in one setting. I ain't want to split it up in two parts. Okay. But yeah, we ended there with that Isaiah 11 verses 11 and Isaiah 11 verse 11 and 12 going to 2:13, Read it. I get it real quick. It's Isaiah chapter 11, verse 11. I started at 10. It says, and in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for an ensign of the people, and to it shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. Okay. And it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people, which shall be left, from Assyria and from Egypt and from Pathros and from Cush and from Elam and from Shinar and Hamath and from all the islands of the sea. And he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather the dispersed of Judah from the four corners of the earth. Okay. Then the envy also of Ephraim shall depart, and the adversaries of Judah shall be cut off. Ephraim shall not envy Judah, and Judah shall not vex Ephraim, man. Okay? No more two nations, man. All on one accord. It's going to be all in righteousness, man. So that's the point. Till next time I say Shalom. Kwam Yashala, Abba Babal, DTA soon, Shalom. And if there's any questions, anything that you want expounded on more, just, leave a question, on the comment board. We can get into it. But Lord will, you brothers and your futures are edified. Shalom.